Hello, fellas, here, and welcome to another edition of the Weekly Rant. Today I'm again joined by TheChudude and Baseball Lover. How are you guys doing?
Hi.
Hi.
Exactly the way I expect you guys to answer that. So this week is of course going to be focused around the first week of the Tour de France. Quite a lot of stuff has been happening. The very first stage, we had the grand departure in Great Britain. We were expected to have the matchup with Kittel versus Cavendish. Chudu, try to explain what happened there. What happened? Why didn't we see Cavendish in the finish line?
Cavendish is kind of being a bit of a... Well, he's doing a bit of a Mark Cavendish, taking a lot of risks, more than necessary, and kind of swung across, hit Gerrans, ruined Gerrans' chance for the rest of the tour. Cavendish is out of the tour. Marcel Kittel is going to win every single sprint stage from there on.
Exactly.
That's the tour.
That was what happened.
This is my opinion. What is Gerrans doing in a field sprint? Okay?
Well, this is biased. This is biased.
He's not a sprinter. He's not a sprinter. Okay, what is he doing?
Gerrans had the
He's
chance
trying to
to win
challenge
that
flat
stage.
sprinters. Cav found a gap that wasn't there apparently, but he knows field sprints. So what is Gerrans even doing?
But Gerrans could have got top 5 on that stage.
Yeah, well, he shouldn't have been there.
Well, I honestly think we should just explain why Baseball Lover has so much hatred towards Jan Gerrans. Because yesterday, this is recorded Saturday, and this is coming out Sunday. But yesterday, the stage where Talansky fell, a certain Australian champion might have pushed him.
Twice.
Oh yeah, but he might have pushed him. Just a tiny
Talansky
bit.
falls a lot.
Okay, we're talking about the Talansky fall where he hit Gerrans' will, not
Yeah.
the mountain.
Hey, I'm just saying. You know, Gerrans is not a flat field sprinter. Let's be honest, okay? He won Liège, Bastogne-Liège. What is he doing in a
What's
flat
Talansky doing?
field sprint?
No, I'll tell you what he's doing. Gerrans' plan was to get as high as possible in the GC after the first stage so he can set himself up for a yellow jersey the next day.
True.
That's
Yeah,
what
but
he's planning.
there was no gap, so he still would have gotten a
was
yellow
sprint-
jersey if he wins it.
No, but you gotta understand, the way it works is, they take the amount of placings you have. If you got second on the first
but
stage...
if he gets a 1 second time gap and wins stage 2, he gets it anyway.
But he couldn't guarantee he's gonna get a time gap. He couldn't guarantee it, so rather be
well,
sure. The
then
reason
he
you
shouldn't
saw...
have been up there. If he can't guarantee these things, he's just not good enough.
So if you can't guarantee to win the Tour de France, don't go to the Tour de France, is that what you're
Exactly. That's what I think.
Dan Martin's
Chris
playing
Froome
all
would
along.
have done
Yeah, Froome should have done that. He would have saved himself a
Dan
lot
Martin
of pain.
knew he was getting third at best. He just didn't want to go. So he went to
No
the Tour of
fun,
Austria and got 18th or something.
Yeah, the race you told us all to watch where he never showed up. But the first stage, as Chu said, was won by Marcel Kittel. Very, very close in the line. Like, Brian Coker, a young sprinter, almost challenged him. Also, Peter Sagan, who's been very consistent so far, got second that stage, I believe. So good job by those two. And so, Baseball Lover, very first stage. What was your opinion of Great Britain as a great departure? Were you relieved when you saw it? Like, were you happy to see all this, or were you kind of disappointed when you saw a great departure?
Well, you know, I think that I've said before, I kind of am just for not having propaganda for other countries. But I think it was fine. It worked well, and there were some crashes, maybe the route, but I think it was not really the route in this case.
Well, many actually say that they'll think twice about ever coming back to Great Britain again, because there are so many spectators who did not respect the riders on the road.
The spectators, they don't, like, people in France, they always get a lot of hate, but that's just because there's so many of them in France, and they're always there. There's always all different of them, and a lot of them understand what the racing is like, and people in Britain don't see that all the time. And the Tour of Britain is not the same kind of racing that you see at the Tour de France, so I can understand it.
What is your opinion, Chu? You think it was okay to have all these, like, many of us neutral people are like, great to see so many spectators, but the riders themselves and the commissioners and the sports directors were saying, get out of the way, you're too dangerous. What was your opinion on this, Chu?
Yeah, well, that's just racing. I think it is what it is, and I think cycling. I think they did a good job by bringing it to Great Britain. It was a success in my eyes. Probably would have made a lot of money, got a lot of new fans, amazing turnout, and we saw a couple of incidents, but I don't think it was enough to hamper what the gains of it. The gains really outweighed the cons. So I mean, we're going to see. Yeah, well, we're going to see the fans like this in any mountain stages, but just because every single flat stage seemed like mountain stages, it felt like there were so many problems. Yeah, it's just the
Every
amount
flat
of
stage
people,
is
really.
mountain stage. Don't even say it. It is.
So you
Or
wouldn't
the
be mad
turnout.
if they brought it back. You wouldn't be mad if they brought the. You wouldn't be mad if they started off in Great Britain in 2 years' time or 3 years' time again.
Okay,
Well,
that's too soon. Okay, that's
Yes.
too soon.
If they bring a couple stages through there in the future, maybe it doesn't even have to start there.
Cobble
Maybe
stages? Do they have
it's like
do they have cobblestones in Great Britain?
no,
A
a couple
couple.
of stages.
Oh, I thought you said cobblestone stages. I'm like, what? Nah.
Well, also you have to think that we know that they're bringing it. The 2DF is going to start in Qatar in a few years.
they said no to that, by the way. Yeah,
And
that's been
well,
confirmed.
nah, they're gonna reconsider because it's for the growing of the sport or something. So they're gonna do that. Probably someplace in Africa, and then the tour of Beijing is gonna be integrated into the tour by 2020.
So are they gonna do like in the FIFA World Cup? They have these water breaks. Are they gonna put? If they start in Qatar, they'll need water breaks. So they're just gonna be like, nope, stop, get off your bikes, get water, get back
Yeah,
on.
yeah, mandatory stop zone.
Yeah. Instead of feed zones, you have stop zones.
Mm-hmm.
See, Baseball Lovers got this all planned, guys. You better go put money right now on Qatar. Which year? Which year is it gonna be in Qatar? You say?
Probably 2017.
2017. Go put your money right now. Baseball Lover has spoken. But the second stage was gonna be a really big couple. No, Chew, you got me. You got cobblestones in my mind.
Really good cobblestone.
It was gonna be a big hilly stage. It was classified as a mini Liège-Bastogne Liège. So we saw guys like Gerrans, Cancellara, Valverde, Kwiatkowski. These guys were advertised as a big favorite, but Nibali came out with the victory. Could you analyze the stage for us, Chew?
Yeah, it was a stage that everyone thought was going to be coming down to maybe a sprint with Sagan, maybe even the Degenkolb if he was still there, but it wasn't really the case. It was a lot difficult than everyone thought. It was like a mini Liège, a lot of climbs. It wasn't obviously as long, but we saw older guys give it a go. Older GC guys, Contador, Froome, Nibali, all put in little attacks. Nibali's attack at the end kind of got the gap he needed and powered away for the win. Sagan tried to go for a few attacks, just didn't have enough to create the gap. I feel like it. But yeah, it felt like it definitely hurt some riders. Yeah, but it wasn't exactly a GC sort out, but it kind of put things into places a bit.
It definitely did. What was your opinion of this stage, Baseball Lover? Did it live up to expectation? Because if you look at the
No.
profile, it looked like it's going to be crazy.
They're like mini Liège, Bastogne Liège. Okay, come on, Liège, Bastogne Liège does not finish with like 30 people in the same group. Okay, it was
It
nothing.
did issue.
Like,
It felt like
well,
it did issue.
that was a disappointment. But it didn't even finish with that many. And on the same time, at least, it broke out on the final hill. But anyway, I think that it was really overrated. I think that Sagan should have had that stage because he responded to every single attack, and then Nibali attacked, and he just let it go. And I feel like, yes, it was a stronger attack than some of the outsiders were putting in, but Sagan, there's no way that on a flat road, Nibali should be able to break away from Sagan. Okay? That's just not right. And I saw a Cycling News article about it, and Sagan was like, I'm really happy that Nibali won. Like, conspiracy much? You just let him win? That's not in good nature of the
Well,
sport.
Sagan didn't even win the bunch sprint. He lost to Greg Van Avermaet and Mikko Kwiatkowski. So he wasn't the fastest that day anyway, so
I
it didn't
think
really
that
matter.
he just wasn't bothering.
Really?
Or-
Well, I think the big headline from that day was that Cannondale was not strong enough. I mean, he was isolated with
We've
what,
shown that
20
Sagan
kilometers?
doesn't want to win sprints anyway.
Well, Cannondale are
doesn't-
always isolated anyway.
Not
You're never
really.
gonna have.
Now, we're going to talk later on. There was that one stage where they went all in for Sagan, which didn't really pan out either. But, yeah, Nibali taking that stage. I think the big headline of that day was Jacob Fuglsang being a really good lieutenant. I know that if you watched my Stage 5 Rant video, you'll think I sounds like a hypocrite right now. But just wait. Fuglsang, great attack that
Fuglsang's
day.
a really, really, really good form right now. He gained a little weight though.
It looks like that in the mountains, but he did give Nibali that stage win and that yellow jersey, in my opinion, because the other guys had to react. We saw Froome pacing, we saw Costa pacing. They had to react from every attack from Jacob Fuglsang, and in the end, Nibali went, and then everyone just started looking at each other like, I'm not gonna pace, you're not gonna pace, goodbye Nibali, and he won that stage. Quite, in my personal opinion, the stage was crap. I'm gonna agree with Baseball Lover. It was
Yeah.
like the stage was set. It was a really high pace for the entire day. We were gonna see a bunch sprint in the end, which I was really excited for. I want to see Peter Sagan versus these guys. No, Nibali breaks away with what 1.5 to go, and then
nobody cares.
Exactly, you can just see from the finish line. There was a camera on the finish line, and you can just see these three groups. Like you had Nibali, and you have Costa and Froome, who eventually got caught, and behind you had the main peloton. And it was like the final kilometer was so anticlimactic. I've never seen anything like that before, and I wish that stage would have ended in another fashion than it actually did.
I feel like it was almost as if the people didn't, like the contenders besides Nibali, didn't care at all about the stage. A stage win in the Tour de France should mean something, but they were just like, I don't want to pace for a GC contender. And it's like there's 1K to go. You could make it so that there's not time gaps by pacing, okay?
Exactly.
And what are you going to lose, okay? This isn't a mountaintop finish. You're not going to crack yourself.
Well, okay, Judah, listen to this. I heard some guys talk about this, but apparently they think, or some experts think, that the reason they didn't pace was because the other GC teams didn't want the yellow jersey so early. Like Sky didn't want the yellow jersey, Contador didn't want the yellow jersey, all the other guys didn't want the yellow jersey. Do you think that's a valid reason to not go for a stage win and just let Nibali go, Chew?
That's quite a valid point, actually, if you look back on how the stage, what the outcome was, because no one really paced initially, and then at the end, people were trying to go for Froome tried to attack. We actually saw Froome try to attack to, bridge across in Nibali, which was interesting. That could be a very valid point. Getting the yellow jersey, depending which rider you are, if you're maybe a Contador or Froome, maybe it's not the best case. Anyone other than that, I feel like getting a yellow jersey is a bonus. So,
Exactly.
yeah, it depends who you are, and I don't know. They could easily given the jersey away, but they don't have to pace on the flat stage. They can just leave it up to Giant because
Exactly.
it's really
Just because you have the jersey, people think that you have this utter responsibility to hold it. If you don't want to, you can just ride like you aren't in the jersey. You don't have to give in to that.
True. That's so true. I think it's a mistake. But the one thing I also realized I'm talking about now, if Sagan would just have chased and not gone for the stage victory, he would have gotten the yellow jersey. Like if there were no time gaps on the finish line, Sagan would have got the yellow jersey. He was the best placed in stage 1, and he was the only guy there still from stage 2 in the ending. So if Sagan would just have paced and not gone for the stage victory, bam, it's 6 days in the yellow jersey.
Also, I think Sagan lost a lot on the climb as well. That climb was pretty tough, and how much moves could Sagan would have followed? Like Fu was saying, try to go.
Well, that's it too.
Yeah,
Sagan's really overrated on hills, in my opinion.
Well, he's
I
surviving
feel
every
like
time.
he gets over them, but in an Ardennes race where all the favorites are just shooting out like that, he can win a stage in a GT because the GT contenders aren't going for it completely. But in an Ardennes race, he would never be able to do it because the favorites would be on form, they would be firing, and they would be going for that one opportunity. He would never be able to compete.
Well,
I feel like
go.
I feel like Sagan survives on the hills but doesn't thrive on it. So we'll never see him win the Fletch or anything like that. But he can definitely.
Strade Bianche.
Yeah.
That's not really the same.
That was a sign. Like
Strade Bianche.
The finish. We all thought that Sagan had it in the back, right? Like Sagan versus Kwiatkowski, straight up sprint on an uphill finish. Sagan has got to take it. We see that Sagan is the favorite, and he took a stage like this until he switched, sure, but Strade Bianche was a sign that he was not as good uphill. Like he could be better uphill.
But
he would have to lose weight.
Then he would be a slower sprinter.
I think he has already. Yeah, he has already taken. Exactly. Yeah. Also, I can see it. Yeah.
Sure.
Well, he hasn't done sprints well, and we saw Tour 2012. He was up there a lot of the times, and since then, he hasn't had that top speed. I think it's because he's focused on classics and focused on hills.
I don't think that's fair to say either, because honestly, I think he broke some sort of record. He had so far of 8 stages, he's been top 5 in 6 of them.
Yeah, top 5. He does not get that acceleration off the wheel, and in the final 100 meters or so is able to just push it that extra notch that guys like Kittel can. He just follows the wheels and gets 3rd, 4th, 5th, sometimes 2nd if there's crashes.
He's not winning. He's getting top 5s. He's not winning any stages anytime soon. I don't think I'd give someone like a Demar or someone else more chance of winning a stage
Christoph.
on a pure flat sprint than Sagan will. Like he just doesn't have the top end speed. Yeah, he just follows the wheel. He just sits on Kittel's wheel and just sits there.
Speaking about
Just
a pure
sits.
flat sprint, stage 3, the Cambridge to London stage. I know a certain Mr. Julian TheChudude saying that, oh, Mark Cavendish had this one, and I bet you he probably had this stage in the bag if he did not crash out in the first
But he
stage.
wasn't there, yeah, so.
So we definitely saw the best pure sprinter at the moment winning the sprint, and that was Marcel Kittel. What do you guys think of Marcel Kittel? Like, is he going to be the next Cavendish? Like, I saw an article comparing Cavendish to Kittel, and Kittel still has a way to go before he's at Cavendish's level of results. But do you guys think that Kittel has what it takes to be as good as Cavendish or get as many results? Or is a competition just too hard for him? What do you think, Baseball Lover?
Yeah, I think that he is perfectly capable of it, and the last 2 years he has been better than Cavendish. And I think that he's still young. Cavendish is old. Not old, but he's older, and he's past his prime, in my opinion. His prime was like 2009 to 2011, maybe 12. Well, not 12 because he was with Sky. But I think that was his prime. He's on the other side of it. He's not declining rapidly, but he's just not there anymore. And Kittel knows that. Kittel has been dominating, and I don't see any reason why he can't pull it out. I don't know if there's anybody right now that can battle with him. Cavendish and Greipel are the 2 second best sprinters, and both of them are not able to compete with him.
Mm-hmm. What do you think, Chu? Who do you think? Oh, if we don't say Kittel, we don't say Cavendish, we don't say Greipel, who is the next one in the line?
I feel like Degenkop, really.
They're on
Degenkop
the same team.
Yeah, exactly. Degenkop's the only one I feel like that could quite possibly maybe do it. I don't really see anyone else. Maybe Buhani if he just grows a bit better, becomes a better cyclist, but I don't really see anyone doing it just right now. But Kittel's 26, he's in the peak of his career, he's doing the right things. How long can he do this for? Who knows? People thought Cavendish would be sprinting and be like this dominating to another, like to his 30s, and we can see that's not happening right now. We can ask the same question with Kittel. How long can he dominate for?
But I give Kittel another year only. I only give him another year.
Oh, no. I'd say until he's like 28, 29, and that's when he will. I don't think that he's going to happen like Cavendish, who hasn't been able to do much the last couple of years. I think that he's going to be able to kind of gently decline. I don't think that Cavendish has just been like out of the sprints, but he hasn't been dominating at all. And I think that Kittel is the kind of rider who can pull out victories even if he's not the best, because he times it right and he's managing to just get monster accelerations. So I see him going into his 28, 29 and still being able to scrounge out a few stage victories in a tour, even when he's not exactly the strongest.
Probably similar to what Cavendish is doing now, yeah.
But I think we should give, like, the reason we're saying Degenkop and Kittel are these, like, great sprinters, I think we're missing some credit here. I think we gotta give some credit to just the Giant team in general. The Giant team has the best leader terrain out there. They always do great, except for the one stage in the tour they did terrible in. But, I mean, they can win a sprint with anyone. I mean, they have Mesketch, they can win a sprint with him, they've already shown that. Nikias Arndt, they can win with him. Singledam, they can win with him. Degenkop, they can win with him. Kittel, they can win with any of these guys. I honestly think if they would have brought Mesketch to the tour...
Even.
Yeah, Wheelers. If they would have brought Mesketch to the tour, I think Mesketch would have won a stage or two, just because the Giant chain is that good. Like, what do you guys think about that?
I completely agree. The Giant train, I don't know if it's on the same level as HTC Columbia was, because Columbia had a sort of chemistry, and they all knew that. I don't think that Renshaw could win stages. I think that, but he was the perfect lead-out man. He knew exactly when to sprint. He knew exactly how fast to go. He knew Cavendish, and I think that's a little more useful than a guy like Degenkop or a guy like Mezgec or even Wheelers. Those guys are fast, but they're their own sprinters too. And so they've been able to dominate, but sometimes it goes wrong because they just don't have as much chemistry. But it's still an amazing train, so you have to give it credit.
True. What do you think, Chu?
Yeah, when we're talking about HTC, that's like the pinnacle of sprint trains. Really, they had that thing pretty much down to science. And Giant Shimano isn't. I don't think they're there yet, but they're on the right track. Like if you see them, how they set up the trains, I can say their timing is pretty good. Their timing is really good. Obviously, their positioning is pretty good. They come to the front, right to the front, and then everything's pretty smooth from then. Pretty much get Kittel in the right spot. But we have seen some times where Kittel's been boxed in on the narrower roads, and he can sometimes fall behind and probably do a bit more work. But generally, they're pretty good. I think they're the best right now in the peloton.
Oh, yes.
Yeah.
But speaking about not doing good, I think we should just jump in stages here. We'll go to stage 6, Rant. Here, we saw a perfect showing of when Giant Shimano doesn't show up. In the final 2 kilometers, Giant Shimano just disappeared. They were nowhere. This is also the stage that Andre Greipel finally got a stage victory in. But we saw that, I think it was Wheelers who said to the press afterwards that they just completely effed up. Like, they just made mistakes, they couldn't find each other, they paced too fast, they just mistimed everything, and it just didn't work out. And that is a good showing that Kittel might be the strongest, but he also needs his lead-out train to win. Like, he wasn't there because his lead-out train wasn't there, so the best sprinter is only as good as his best lead-out man. So that's my opinion on that. What do you think about Greipel, actually? Do you think he's done?
Yeah. He won a stage by chance, and I didn't watch much of that stage. I barely caught the finish, so I literally only watched the last K because I was at a friend's house. But I mean, one of the critical mistakes that I've seen from guys is you get a lead-out train, and the lead-out train fails, and now you're stuck behind it, and you're pushed backwards. You know?
Mm-hmm.
If you can find that opportunity to freelance, I think he'll still, if he sees, oh, my train is getting bad, and he just tries to make his way to the front himself, maybe. But I like I said, I didn't watch all of the stage, so I can't really comment on that.
Okay. What do you think, Chu? What is your overall opinion of Andre Greipel after we've seen him at the tour so far?
Yeah, he's good, but he's definitely lacking, I feel like. If you compare him to Sagan is so good bike handling, his skills are so good. Again, we're talking about freelancing. Sagan's probably the best in the peloton at just getting to position. You can see him fall from getting the crash, and he'll come straight back to the front really quick. And someone like Greipel, right now he seems to be on the out. It just doesn't he doesn't position. He's been positioning himself pretty poorly this tour. That's fair to say. His sprinting legs are probably still there. I don't see him being that far behind in terms of sprinting, but positioning is so key for winning a stage, and we've seen that this year so many times in the tour already. Pretty much every stage you see a guy who probably could have won the stage, but positioning pretty much killed him. Perfect example, Christoph a couple of times, even Demar as well, so yeah.
But, okay, the one rainy stage, I think it was the Cambridge to London stage that Kittel won, Greipel kept on pulling the brakes. He said in an interview afterwards that he was scared and he didn't want to crash because earlier in the season he crashed in some, I don't know which race it was, but he crashed and broke his collarbone, and he's scared of that happening again. Another interview that I also read was Lars Bak, who said to TV2 that he was simply, the train was there that day. The third stage, everything was set up for Greipel to win, but Greipel was too scared of crashing, so he just fell behind. He lost his train. The Lotto Pelsa train was there. They could have rode for Jürgen Roland. Probably could have gotten top 5, but they decided to wait for Greipel, and Greipel was just too scared. So I agree with you guys. I think it's over for Andre Greipel. If you start being scared for your health, that's when you need to stop racing.
I know a certain guy who had a problem a couple of years ago of getting scared in sprints. And where is he now?
Farrell.
Yeah.
Farrell. He was scared?
Yeah, after
Wouter
Whelan died, he would say that he couldn't reach the top speed in sprints because he was just not able to bring himself to do it. He was very cautious in sprints and didn't want to do anything. And he got over that, but now it's just over. He can't do it anymore.
Yeah, it's too late for him in his career, I guess so.
Yeah.
Let's go to some more exciting news instead of Val instead. May you rest in peace. But stage 5, it was the second stage was classified as a mini Liège-Bastogne-Liège, a classic. We also had stage 5, the Ypres stage, which was classified as a mini Paris-Roubaix. And with the wet conditions, it was made even more exciting for us spectators. And this was a stage that I made some accusations that was probably Probably true, but I mean, at the moment it was kind of over-exaggerated, and I'm not going to take them back, but I'm going to say sorry for going on the rant, guys. I'm not going to take him back, I still stand by him, but we saw Lost Boom finally winning a stage.
Yeah. Why'd you go on a rant without us? What's wrong with you?
Sorry. It was only a 2-minute rant. I can only do 2 minutes without you guys. I need Baseball Lover's opinion, I need TheChudude's
actual reason.
Yeah, expert analysis. Well, Lost Boom finally won a stage. He's been in Stefan Marg's shadow for quite a while now, because Stefan Marg has always been classified as the better cobblestone rider. Do you think that's still true? Do you think Lost Boom is better, or do you think Stefan Marg is better on cobblestones?
Van Mark. That's not a question right now. Van Mark is an absolute machine, that man. He's proven himself so many times, and he deserves the #1 leader for the team, really. And not a bad ride by Boom. He was running for Van Mark. Van Mark actually had to puncture that stage of some sort of mechanical near
and
the
he
end.
just told Boom to go.
Yeah.
And he did
Boom didn't really even do any work. He was just sitting on the star on the train's wheel pretty much the whole stage.
That is the controversial point. Nibali and Fulsang and Louis Westra were the talk of the day that day. Those three guys managed to drop Fabian Cancellara, Peter Sagan, Jens Kukeleri, and many others, Krakowski and all these guys. What do you guys think about this? I mean, I know I've said that I believe it's dope, and it might not be true, but whatever, guys. I can have my opinion as soon as Baseball Love gonna have his American opinions. But, I mean, I gotta say...
come on. Oh, God, a blood bag. Oh.
Dude, what are the chances of this ever happening again? Seeing a GC contender dropping the classic specialists in their hometown.
I mean, sometimes you'll get it so that a couple of guys might not be on form, but come on, that was crazy. That was absolutely insane. That was just... Fulsang, I mean, yes, maybe he gained some weight, but what is even happening?
Nibali
what even is
pacing.
that?
Nibali was pacing.
Nibali was also... Yeah, Nibali and Fulsang, that shouldn't happen, and that's... Okay. I don't want to say doping, because on the mountains they both seemed pretty normal. But it's weird, because how did this happen?
It's not something you see
they
every
both
day.
pulled a Wiggins, which means they must have gained weight. But then, Nibali was perfectly fine today, and you can't lose weight that fast, sorry. So...
Well, I know Chu has some expert analysis on this matter. Why was Nibali and Fulsang and Wester faster than the other guys in that stage too? I know you have some opinions.
I think it was a combination of a lot of things, obviously, as well. Good positioning, plus, all that little things. But I think there's another thing I thought of was the bikes. Obviously, the bikes they use for cobblestone stage are so much different to the bikes they regularly use. And I was watching a few of the videos on mechanical bits, and the mechanics, for every single team's mechanics, they keep everything a secret. They don't let any other team know the pressure of their wheels, what type of... A lot of things they don't let other teams know. I know Astana were using different size frames or different types of wheels as well, which could have made a change. How much, I don't know. But if you think about it, on the stage that difficult like that, if your bike is pretty much giving you, let's just say, you use 10 watts less or something like that on the cobbles or something, and saves you that much energy, it could be the difference maker easily. To see Nibali Fulsang go away like that, I was surprised, but I was speechless after the stage as well. I didn't really know what just happened, and I still don't. I'm sure a lot of people still don't.
I was pissed, because I'm sure many people are like, Fulsang second place if you're a Danish guy. Fulsang second place, hurrah! Start to wave your flags around and call him a national hero and all that stuff. Well, one thing that comes to mind is Michael Rasmussen in 2007 or whatever that was, where it was Rabobank versus Discovery Channel, where Rasmussen won. And I'm like, yes! I have full faith in him. Danish guys are never doped. And then he was doped. And then I believe that Fulsang, when you do something that Danes are not supposed to do, and Danes are not supposed to be out there in cobblestone stages, then something is wrong. But, I mean, you guys can have your opinions. You can dislike this video. You can say your opinions in the comment section. I said that in my rant video as well, my private rant video without these guys. It wasn't as good as this video, though. Trust me, guys. But, you can do whatever you want. We can have our opinions. That's why we have freedom of speech in this world. But
yeah, it's like Horner last year.
Exactly.
When I first saw Horner doing well, I was like, okay, well, he's American. That's pretty cool. And then I was like, fuck this shit. He's doped.
I know, right? That's how I feel as well. But I think we should move on for that stage because it's only going to go downhill from here. Stage 7, the Epernated Non-Sea stage. This stage had Sagan all over it. Sagan even brought out his girlfriend and some personal friends. They got flown overnight in private
Now,
jets.
is that still the podium girl?
I'm not sure if he still got any contact with her. I hope so. She's kind of hot, actually. But, so, he had friends flown over, and he had his girlfriend flown over, because he thought he was going to be celebrating all night with these friends and girlfriend. But, there came one guy in the way. Matteo Trentin, his second Tour de France victory in so many editions of the Tour as well. Are you guys, Trentin could be a real classics guy, don't you think? I mean, I think I was pretty surprised about what he could do on that stage.
Trenton's the kind of guy, he's like, I don't really know what he is, because he's not a fastest sprinter. He's kind of like Sagan, but not exactly. I don't know. He's just the kind of guy that can do everything and just follow the wheels and get a good sprint once in a while. What do you think?
Yeah.
If he feels like he's someone who can go in the longer Ks and really sprint. But it also depends how well he does in the future. Also depends on how much opportunity he gets at OPQS. So hopefully he deserves more opportunities. Obviously OPQS are going for Renshaw right now in the flats. We could possibly see Trenton in another stage because there's a lot of hilly stages this tour. So hopefully we see him go again. He was it was shocking to see that. I don't think anyone saw that coming. So kudos to him.
They didn't even know.
That's
the commentators were like, "Oh, and Sagan loses. Who won?
Who's this guy?"
Funny thing is, okay. So Brian Holm, the Danish sports director at Omega Pharma Quickstep, was interviewed by TV2 during the stage, the Danish televised company, and they were asking, "So who are you going for today's stage? We see you pacing at the front." We're like, "Well, Jan Bakelans can do a really good sprint, and Tony Martin are also feeling good today." And we're like, Matteo Trentin, I see you have him still in the peloton. What do you think about him? Well, he said that he was feeling cold today and he wasn't feeling too good, and that was with 20 kilometers to go. And he's like, I don't know if that's mind games or what, if they're expecting other companies to listen to Danish television, but I gotta say, that's a master plan by Brian Holm and the other guys. And I think I recommend you to look up the sports car, their reaction from Matteo Trentin's win. It's very emotional. And speaking about Matteo Trentin, stage 9, probably be over by the point you listen to this video. A guy like Matteo Trentin could go in the breakaway. He did this last year and could win stage 9. What do you guys think about that?
Very possible. Stage 9 is impossible. This is like, if you're playing a game on like PCM on hard mode, this is like beyond extreme mode by tipping who the winner is. It's like, you just look at it, it's like, what is this stage? But yeah, quite possibly, but I don't know, it could be a bit more difficult than Trenton would like. There's obviously a Cat 1 climb there as well, so it's pretty tough, and whoever wins that's going to deserve their win, really.
I say. Well, another guy who deserved his victory was Blel Kadri. He won the first real mountain test in this year's Tour de France, the 8th stage at Tomblain to Chirapmere. So, this was the first time, this year's battle for the yellow jersey is most likely going to be between Nibali and Contador, from what we've seen so far. Contador has to find 2 minutes somewhere. Baseballlover, what do you think about today's battle between Nibali and Contador over that 1 kilometer we saw them battle on? What did you take from that?
I didn't take much. I feel like Contador had a lot of team support, and Roach went pretty long out there. So did Rogers. Rogers was on the front for a very long time.
Mike as well.
Micah earlier on, and he didn't show. I figured he would really try to attack it, but we saw Contador do a grind move until the final 50 meters where he broke 2 or 3 seconds on him. I really expected a Contador-esque big acceleration. We saw them in Dauphiné, and he didn't give it. Maybe he's saving something, but Nibali is on really, really good form, which is really weird because at Dauphiné he was on horrible, horrible form, and we all know that can change between races, but come on, that's kind of weird that he was really, really bad in Dauphiné. Not even just average. He was really bad.
We pulled our freedom of speech right here, by the way. Don't send us to the police. We have rights. Yeah.
Yeah.
I say. Well, another guy who deserved his victory was Jonas Vingegaard. He won the first real mountain test in this year's Tour de France, the 8th stage at Tomblain to Chirapmere. So, this was the first time, we What did you think from that stage, Hugh? What did you see? What impressed you the most from that stage?
Well, a couple guys impressed me. Obviously, Contador. Someone like Port also impressed me, and someone like Pinot as well really impressed me. This guy was kind of surprising. I didn't expect him to do well on the stage like this, especially when there's rain plus
Downhill.
descent. Yeah, it doesn't normally end well, but he was right in there. Yeah, but what I took from the stage, it was basically a psychological battle really between Contador and Nibali. And Contador, he didn't attack, but I think that's what I'm most impressed by, because for him to be able to ride Nibali off his wheel, that shows how strong Contador is. Yeah, Contador could have easily accelerated away, but to be able to ride Nibali off his wheel, that's quite an accomplishment. Again, Nibali wasn't at his best at Dauphiné to now, which has varied. I still think Contador seems like he's a bit more efficient in the mountains than Nibali. This was only a 1.8k climb, or whatever it was. It was very steep.
Mm-hmm.
I'm interested to see what happens in the longer climbs. It could suit Contador more, I think. To be honest, 2 minutes can go away in one stage for Contador. He can ride that back easily on having a good day. Both of these guys are guns. Nibali's won 2 Grand Tours, Walter and Giro. Contador's, very accomplished. If Nibali wins a tour, he's going to be one of the selected few to win all 3 Grand Tours. So, we're in for a really good battle, I feel like. Even Port, someone who could really match him up in the longer climbs as well. So it's going to be interesting.
Okay, so guys, in the last week we made some predictions of what we thought was going to happen. Like, what was our top 3? Do you want to make any changes to that? I know personally my top 3 was Froome, Nibali, Valverde. Well, of course I want to change Froome. I want to bring Nibali to first place, Contador to second place, and then like third place is like, it looks to be Richie Porte, but I just know there's going to be that one day where Richie Porte just cracks. But I don't see anyone else but Richie Porte in that third place. Would you change your baseball over?
I would absolutely. Well, my top 3 was Froome, Contador, Talansky. So now my top 3 is Contador first. I think he can pull back the time. Nibali, I think that there's no way he's slipping past second anymore. And third, it's still kind of a toss-up for me. I do think that Port does not have the consistency to pull it out.
But who can take it then?
Who can take it? That's
a good question.
also a thing. Valverde, but Valverde this is the kind of finish that really suits Valverde, and he did not do well, so who knows?
So who's your third guy? Who's
Valverde.
third place? Valverde? Okay, what do you say, Chiu? What's your top 3? You changing it? Or you
Okay,
keeping it?
I've Contador winning. I feel like he's going to win pretty comfortably. Well, he's going to win in a similar way to how Quintana won it, really, claw it back in. Nibali will get second, I feel like, and third, to me, I think Port looks like he's going to get it. I think he will get it, but it could easily go to someone, even like a Bardet, anyone who can surprise, really. It's one of those tours where someone could surprise and really ride a really good tour, and it feels like this is the year. To be honest, I think Port will get it, but it wouldn't surprise me if someone else gets it. Someone out of nowhere.
Guys, if you would like to put your top 3 in the comment section below on this video, if you're on SoundCloud, please go to youtube.com/ProMKia and then put your top 3 in the comment section below, and let's see if any of you get it right, because I think it could be quite interesting to see if anyone got it right with like 2 weeks to go, because there's still a lot of racing to be done and the tour is far from over. But guys, thank you guys for watching this week's episode of the Weekly Rant. Please leave a like, please leave a comment, please go to Baseball Lovers channel, and please go to TheChudude's channel. You guys have anything you want to say before we hang up?
Enjoy the tour.
Talansky, if you're watching this, stay on your bike.
And on that note, see you guys later.